It all started on that crisp autumn afternoon when I watched the demolition crew rip apart the old wooden bridge my grandpa had built back in 1932. The one that connected our family land across Willow River to the rest of the world. They thought they were just clearing out an eyesore. But to me, it was like watching a piece of my soul sink into the muddy water. And right then, I knew this wasn't just about property. It was personal. A power grab by folks who saw me as some backwoods nobody standing in the way of their fancy lakeside condos. Elena Vargas, the HOA queen bee with her designer outfits and iron grip on the neighborhood, had finally pushed too far, activating a storm she'd never see coming. I stood there on the east bank, flannel shirt tucked in, boots caked in dirt from years of fishing those same waters, staring at the wreckage as the sun dipped low, painting everything in this eerie orange glow, like the river itself was bleeding. My cabin on the other side looked so damn isolated now, vulnerable, cut off from emergency roads and everything else. And Elena pulls up in her shiny black SUV, stepping out like she owned the damn universe. "Mr. Harland," she calls across the gap, her voice all polished and patronizing, the kind rich folks use when they're talking down to you. "Safety codes don't allow isolated properties like yours any more time to sell up and move on." She flashes this fake smile, all teeth, no heart, thinking she'd won. But I just looked at her, calm as could be, and said, "Elena, you sure you know what you've done? That bridge wasn't public. It's been Harland family property since the Depression. Deed filed in Denton County, March 15, 1932. Her face flickered just for a second, like a glitch in her perfect facade. But she recovers quick, waving it off. "You're bluffing, Mike. No one's going to care about some old planks." Oh, but I wasn't bluffing. Not even close. I'd been waiting for this, counting every misstep she'd made for 3 long years. Ever since I moved into that cabin, pretending to be a simple retiree, when really I was the incoming Denton County Sheriff, building a case that would bury her and her whole corrupt crew. Flash back a few days, and there she was in her fancy HOA office, plotting it all out with her lap dogs, Dave Keller, the jittery treasurer who'd been dipping into funds to cover his poker losses, Lisa Grant, the secretary who noted every shady deal like it was gospel, and Greg Thompson, the yes-man board member who stamped approval on anything for a cut. "The Harland issue ends now," Elena declares, leaning over blueprints like a general in a war room. "Tear down the bridge, condemn the cabin as unsafe, buy it cheap for our resort project. Simple." Dave hesitates, mumbling something about checking records, but she shuts him down hard. "Legal hassles from a hermit? Please. I've got the county inspector in my pocket with monthly envelopes. And Commissioner Hayes gets his kickbacks like clockwork. This is how we build empires, boys." They laugh, all smug, not knowing every word was beaming straight to my hidden mics in the trees outside. Crystal clear faces captured on cams disguised as bird feeders. See, Elena wasn't just greedy. She was blind to the little guy. Thought her money and connections made her God. But deep down, it stemmed from her own climb, orphaned young, clawed her way up in real estate. Now she saw anyone not playing her game as a threat. Especially me, the quiet neighbor who wouldn't sell out. That resentment fueled her, turned a community board into a criminal syndicate. Embezzling dues for personal yachts. Bribing officials to ignore the gun-running boats slipping through our private dock at night. Weapons from south of the border headed to city gangs, all protected by her web of favors. For me, it wasn't just anger. It was this quiet fire, born from watching my dad lose his farm to similar bullies back in the day, teaching me that silence isn't weakness, it's strategy. I'd spent decades in law enforcement, undercover ops that honed my patience. And when I got wind of Willow River's rot 3 years ago, I went deep cover, fishing by day, logging evidence by night. Over $7 million siphoned from HOA treasuries. $700,000 in kickbacks from phony contracts. Audio of Elena whispering deals with cartel contacts for $40,000 a month in consulting fees. My encrypted phone buzzed that demolition day. All captured. Federal package ready. I tucked it away next to my badge, the one she'd learn about soon enough. Operation Riverguard was my baby. Federal wiretaps approved under strict rules. Every convo uploaded to DOJ servers, building RICO charges that would link her to a multi-state mess. Money laundering through shell companies, arms trafficking violating export laws, even bank secrecy violations that had seized her hidden fortunes. Things escalated quick after the bridge fell. Next morning, I'm sipping coffee on my porch, acting all defeated for her security cams, when this black Escalade rolls up. 3 goons in suits step out, the kind with concealed holsters and bad attitudes from some private firm called Blackwood Security. Mr. Harland, the leader says, all fake friendly with an edge, neighborhood's getting risky. Accidents happen to folks who don't cooperate. Maybe think about that offer again. I set down my mug, looked him dead in the eye. Gentlemen, threatening a federal witness? That's a felony under Title 18, Section 1512. You boys might want to rethink who signs your checks before I make calls that end careers. They freeze, faces paling like they'd stepped on a landmine, scrambling back to their ride. Elena's desperation showing, her fear of losing control turning to thuggery. But it only added charges to my pile. By Tuesday, I couldn't hold back anymore. Called an emergency town hall, walked in wearing my sheriff-elect uniform, badge gleaming, and the room goes dead silent as 200 neighbors stare, jaws dropping. Folks, I'm Mike Harland, your new Den County Sheriff, and for 3 years, I've been undercover right here, documenting the cancer eating this community. Gasps ripple out, old-timers nodding like they'd suspected all along, newcomers looking betrayed, their dues funding Elena's bribes to Pauls like State Representative Carla Ruiz, who'd pocketed $180,000 in donations for looking the other way on inspections. Lisa Grant flips first, having worn an FBI wire for months. Her notes turning into gold for prosecutors. Media swarms, headlines screaming, undercover sheriff busts HOA empire. And Elena panics, scheduling a presser to spin it. This is harassment by a rogue cop with a grudge, she cries to the cameras, all indignant, charts showing my vendetta. But mid-sentence, I burst in with feds. Elena Vargas, you're under arrest for conspiracy, money laundering, RICO violations. You have the right to remain silent. Chaos erupts. Agents cuffing her crew. Raids hitting 12 properties. Freezing assets. Her face twisting from shock to fury as she spits, you'll regret this, Harland. But I just smile. No, Elena. I'm just the guy who counted while you stole. The trial was a spectacle, for days of evidence dumping her world. 14,000 dodgy transactions, 250 witnesses, including her own lawyer ratting her out on a murder plot. Recorded calls where she hisses, make it look like a boating mishap. Pay the cartel whatever, Harland can't testify. Turns out her empire spanned 112 communities, $760 million in damages over a decade, linked to cartels and crooked Pauls from Arizona to Georgia. International busts followed. Assets clawed back from Swiss banks. $19 million recovered. Elena got 32 years, $42 million in restitution. Dave got 10 with community service, teaching ethics, ironic, right? Commissioner Hayes resigned in tears. Representative Ruiz expelled. Reforms hit hard, Texas HOA Transparency Act mandating audits, federal oversight kicking in. Willow River reborn with a resident council. Property values bouncing back. Victims compensated from a $76 million fund. 1 year on, I'm standing on the rebuilt bridge, solid oak now. Plaque reading, Harland Legacy Crossing. Watching kids play where Elena's goons once lurked, sun glinting off the water like a promise kept. It changed me, you know, reminded me justice ain't quick, but it's thorough when you play smart. But here's the thing that still nags, was I too patient, letting the rot fester while families suffered, or did waiting make the win bigger? What do you think? Have you dealt with HOA bullies, felt that power imbalance? Drop a comment, share your story. Let's talk about when silence turns to strength, or if sometimes speaking up sooner saves more pain. Hit like if you believe one quiet fight can topple giants, and subscribe for more real tales where underdogs bite back.